Hello and welcome to Horror Rewind. This is Kelly Florence.
And I'm Meg Hofdahl.
And today,
can you hear my dog barking and my children screaming?
yeah, it's just an average day at the Hofdahl house, right?
Yeah. Anyway,
Today,
sorry, you were doing a nice intro.
well, I was going to say today we're going to talk about The Night House. If you remember that movie, it feels like a lifetime ago.
I know. We watched it together, which was nice. We don't always get to watch horror movies together. I feel like I wouldn't mind going into a parallel universe right now as my children are screaming and Cookie's barking. Although it could just be worse. It could be my husband trying to murder me.
Yeah, and that's never a good ththing. Now, before we
No.
get into the movie, happy 2022, y'all.
Yay! 2022. I like the sound of 2022. I think it sounds nice, I think it's going to be a good year. I'm going to be positive right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to try to stay optimistic, and I know people hate the phrase choose happiness because I realize we can't choose our circumstances, but I think we can choose our attitudes towards them. So I am going to choose happiness. I'm going to be optimistic like you.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like that thing where you can't control other people, but you can control your reaction. And so it's like, you know what? I have bad days where I'm crabby, but I think overall I try to be optimistic. And right now I just feel like 2022 is going to be a great year. And you know what? Everything's gravy. We're going to be fine.
Everything's coming up Millhouse.
That's right.
Am I lagging that bad?
Yeah.
I'll go move. I'm going to go kick all my family out of the front room. And I can edit this, or you can follow me, listeners, into me carrying my computer. So
see, these technical issues aren't going to get us down.
No, we're just going to pivot. It's been we had a fun sort of winter break because Meg and I got to spend some time together, and we watched a ton of stuff together. Not only The Night House, but we also had a couple of days where we just watched romantic comedies.
It was so fun. It was the highlight of my Christmas break. It was the best part. We just watched, like, okay, what did we watch? We watched the classic Meg Ryans. We watched Sleepless in Seattle. We watched You've Got Mail. We watched While You've Been Sleeping. We watched, oh my gosh, we watched Only You.
Yes.
What?
House Sitter.
Yes. So House Sitter. Oh, that's right. Because you're like, oh my gosh. I love that movie. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I've never seen it before. So that was really exciting. So sometimes you just need some rom-coms in your life.
I agree. And so we were living our best lives. I mean, we still are, and we're going to continue by seeing Scream next week because, well, technically, Yay! I guess technically today, because the episode's going to air today when it comes out.
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. So, we live far apart. We aren't able to see Scream together, but I asked Luke. Oh, and then my other friend who likes horror, she can't go. So I was like, Luke, for my birthday, I mean, he would have done it anyway, but I'm like, can you go see Scream with me? And he's like, yeah, sure. And he's like, but I never saw Scream 4, so I have to see Scream 4. And I'm like, well, you don't really need to. Like, it's going to be okay. And he's like, no, I have to. Like, he can't go to this new Scream without seeing it. So he's extremely busy right now on hospital service, but we have to find time for him to watch Scream 4 before we go, apparently.
Well, if that's if that's the biggest burden you have, it'll be okay. But also, I can't believe he hasn't seen it.
Yeah, I know.
We just watched it the other day, actually.
I know. I've watched it several times recently, so I'm gonna have to get it on and have him watch it. But it's like we especially when he's on hospital service, we have a hard time watching anything. So I'm gonna have to like really get him to watch it because I want to go see Scream like ASAP.
Yes. Now, we talked about, or we're about to talk about The Night House, and I've seen this on lots of top 10 lists for 2021 for best horror movies, and I've seen several people rank it as their number one horror movie of 2021. It's not my
Wow.
number one, but I enjoyed it thoroughly. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it was my number one, but I loved it. I love the atmosphere. I love, female driven horror, especially when there's sort of like this cloud of grief. And right away, we like get to know her character. I thought they did such a great job of showing, Rebecca Hall, I think her character's name is Beth, showing her like throw that casserole away in the beginning. And we already know, okay, she's grieving somebody. And oh my God. Well, I'm guessing I wanted to ask you, because after we watched it, we didn't even talk about it.
No.
But I'm guessing that scene where in the beginning where she's a teacher and we see the woman come in to talk about her son's grades. And she's like, well, my fucking husband died. I mean, I don't think that is verbatim, but that's kind of the attitude she has. And I was like, guessing you as a teacher sort of enjoyed her dealing with this terrible parent that way.
It's interesting because yeah, I think we might have said something when that happened, like, wow, I can't, imagine saying that. The nice thing about teaching at the college level is you legally can't interact with parents, like, because their students are adults, true. And so they have no right to even question their grades or anything.
You don't have any meddling parents.
No,
so
legally, even if they call and are like, hey, what are they getting and what grade are they getting in your class? You can't tell them.
Oh, okay. Well, then there you go. See,
I'm living the best
just
life.
Another perk. Yeah, seriously. But I love that because I really felt like I knew who she was in that moment. And even though it's this extreme situation, she's grieving her husband's suicide. I thought it was just like, okay, now I know who she is. And just throughout the movie, I think one of the things that compelled me was her character and that she has this best friend relationship. And I didn't realize when she was having that conversation about almost dying, like I had no idea how profound and important, integral that was to the actual storyline.
Yeah. And even that opening thing you were talking about with the parent, she like loses time and she was doing a search for the gun, and that was on her screen.
Yeah.
Like, that's just icky feeling because
that's right.
We all could lose time.
Yeah.
So immediately it's just like, okay, even if there's nothing supernatural going on, it's yucky.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable.
That's upsetting. Yeah, exactly. So she gets into this thing with her friend and she's like, oh, I almost died. And like I said, I didn't realize like, oh, okay, this is going to be important later on. I just thought it was kind of more character development or something like that. It ends up being kind of an extremely important part because the way I sort of interpret the movie, and I think this is why this movie is on so many top 10 lists and people love it, is because there's an interpretive part to it. It allows you to kind of like let your brain go and think about all sorts of different things. But, it seems like death sort of in Final Destination style is after her and has sort of infected her husband. And I love that. And what seems like sort of your boring, is he cheating on me, turns into something so much more sinister.
Yeah. And also, I mean, you're like the whole time it's like, wow, this dude is a jerk because he's murdering these women for no reason. Yeah. But actually he's murdering them to save his wife, who he loves more than anything, which is like next level. And the note saying like nothing is after you. And it's nothing.
Oh my God. I know.
Now, before I forget, I'm going to shout out it was written by Ben Collins and Luke Piotrowski and directed by David Bruckner. It's 87% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know what its budget was at the box office. It made $15 million. That sounds pretty good.
Well, and like shout out, I mean, Rebecca Hall has been in a lot of good thriller horror movies, and I just felt like her performance was so good in this. There's like this part where her whole body is just being twisted, and she's just like her acting is so, you know, it's something if you're watching a movie and you're just enjoying it, sometimes you're not even thinking about the performance, you're just kind of in it. But I couldn't help but just see how she was just carrying every scene, and she was just the perfect person for this role. It was so good.
It was amazing. Now, did you realize you were just doing a thumbs up on your Zoom, or was it a ghost? Like the thumbs up
Oh, did
icon
it go
was,
like I'm trying to?
there was a thumbs up
Oh,
icon on your screen for that entire monologue about Rebecca Hall, and I thought maybe there's a ghost like agreeing with her
oh,
performance. Did you do that on
oh,
purpose?
maybe, or maybe it's her. Maybe it's her in the like sort of dream, the second house, or the
Yeah.
dream house or something. Yeah, that's creepy. Um, yeah, well, and this whole idea of like this parallel house and everything, and it's such a good job of sort of like, I don't know if I want to say red herrings, but it just brings you down all these different routes of thought, and like, okay, you know, I started to think in the beginning, like, did he build like secret sections to this house so he can like keep his victims, or, you know, there's just so many different things that you're thinking. And then there's this house she finds, and obviously the metaphor there of like, you know, secret lives and all this stuff. It's just, I think this is the kind of horror that I appreciate. Again, it's not necessarily the kind of horror I want to watch every day because it's super deep and dark, but I love it still.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, it never was obvious. You might think, oh, from the trailer or just hearing the concept, okay, it's just going to be about this house that only appears at night. And there you go. That's the entirety of the plot. But there's so many different layers and levels and paths that we go down. And like I said, even his intentions for the murders, not that it's excusing them, but it's so much deeper.
Yeah, it's like he has this urge, this dark passenger, if you will, because I'm watching a lot of Dexter lately. And it's this nothing, or this death, just completely telling him you have to kill your wife. And so he's trying to sort of get it out in this other way, and then to end his life like that. And then she almost ends her life, and her best friend comes and saves the day. Which I really like that there was that best friend relationship, and that they were taking care of each other. And I think those relationships aren't always explored so well in film. So that was really cool. And yeah, I mean, just obviously it was beautifully shot, and emotional and unexpected. So a very good horror movie. But like I said, sometimes I just need like Werewolves Within or something, palate cleanser, because those kind of movies I can't watch every single day.
No, it's true. I think I said this to you when we were watching it, but like the first time a ghost turned on music, or I lost time and ended up like woke up on the floor, I'd be out of there immediately. And I realized that it's not as simple as that, because her husband designed and built this house, so she has that not only like physical connection, emotional connection, so she has to stay there. But man, I'd be out of there so fast. That'd be bad for plot though.
I know, that's the thing. It's always bad for plot. It's like you just have to believe this person needs to stay there. That happens so often. Anytime you like buy a haunted house, it's like, okay, get the hell out of there. But you know, I think too, it's kind of interesting because I feel like humans, like, we rationalize everything and we ignore things, and we like, so maybe if I lost time, or I felt like, you know, something, I feel like maybe I would just try to like turn it into logic and sort of like make it okay. I feel like that's like what we do. So maybe there's more to it than we realize.
Something I have been saying lately is good communication makes for bad TV or bad movies, because if everyone just said exactly what they want to say, there would never be miscommunication and plots would be very different. So we need a little poor communication
There,
or logic.
well spoken from a communication professor. Well, and like Luke's big thing is like, he's like, I hate misunderstandings in movies and shows because he gets like so upset. But you're so right. Like most rom-coms have to have like 10 misunderstandings at least.
Yeah, it would be
So
very short plot. What else do you want to say about The Night House?
Oh, nothing. I just think that if you haven't watched it, that you really should, although we just spoiled it for you. But
Yeah,
I want to watch it again because I think it's one of those movies like that it would really do well that way.
no,
And oh, I also just wanted to mention another movie I watched that had similar feelings to it called Censor.
oh yeah, I've
I'd
seen
heard
that
really
in
good.
top 10 lists too.
Yeah, I've seen really good things about it, so I watched it, and I won't give anything away, but it has sort of that dark past of a female. It's female driven. It has that sort of dreamlike quality to it. It's beautifully shot. I really recommend it. Again, that's another one I want to watch again because it's complicated, but it's really kind of in the same vein. So if you like The Night House, I recommend Censor, which is on Hulu.
No, I just saw that The Night House had its premiere at the 2020 Sundance. So that's the same time Scare Me premiered there and Promising Young Woman.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it just think about
Oh,
how
wow.
long all of these things take. And this movie didn't even get to come out until 2021 because of reasons. It's just such a journey to make a
Yeah.
movie.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, for sure. It is. It's definitely people's baby. So it's nice to see all these filmmakers being successful, especially in horror.
Definitely. Well, let's rank this movie and then we'll talk about a couple other things. On a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being you hated it, 10 being you think it's a perfect movie, what's our scale for The Night House? Is it the boat that she
Ooh,
goes out into
sure.
or a mirror?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, anything. It could be, how about the boat?
Okay.
It's
I was going to
creepy.
say that bathroom scene is so scary. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
And
Yes.
it's like, and she thought it was her husband, but it wasn't.
Oh.
Yucky. Okay, how many boats do you give The Night House?
I'm gonna give it 9. I thought it was really good, well acted, compelling. Um, yeah, really good. I think I'm just knocking at 1 just because it's like super emotional. And
Yeah.
that's not a bad thing, but it's like it's very heavy. Which
And
again, not a bad thing. It's just,
and I too, I'm giving it a 9. And I think reflecting, like I said, it's not my favorite movie of last year, but I enjoyed the heck out of it. And it was so good. It was so well done. Speaking of
yeah,
things that are
very
well
well.
done, coming up in a couple weeks, we're going to talk about the entirety of Yellow Jackets. So if you haven't gotten on board that show, stay tuned because we will be talking about it with spoilers, but you've got a couple weeks, friends. So catch up on Yellow Jackets. Meg, what are your initial thoughts? We won't spoil anything in this episode.
I mean, Lost meets something. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's like Lost meets everything cool. And it's I mean, female driven to the max, complicated characters. Love it, love it, love it.
I do too. I wanted it all. Like every time I watched an episode, I just wanted the next one. And
Yeah.
I've been watching it week to week,
I know.
which is very rare for me to do, but it's so good. I can't wait. So if you are lucky enough to have not watched it yet, you get to binge it. So do it.
Oh my gosh, I'm jealous that somebody gets to binge it and they haven't started it yet. Like,
Yeah.
do it immediately.
The other thing,
Speaking of, you're watching Station 11.
yeah,
How's
I was
that?
gonna say I just binged it. There's one episode left. It will have aired by the time this airs. But I watched 9 episodes between Friday and Saturday. And I freaking loved it. Do you know anything about it, Meg?
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I was going to say, have you
Okay.
heard anything about
Sorry.
it? Do you know anything about it?
No, I'm sorry you broke up and I didn't hear anything you said about Station 11, but
No,
tell me about it.
So plug your ears if you don't want to know, but I'm just going to give you the bit that I love the most. It's post-apocalyptic, and would we go back to traveling theater troupes? We would, because there's no Netflix.
Wow. Okay.
Like, think about old
Interesting.
Shakespearean days when there's
Okay.
a traveling theater troupe that goes town to town to entertain people, because that's the only entertainment, right?
Oh. Yeah. Okay. Well, you have me. You have me
It's-
captivated and interested now.
It's freaking theater. It's theater. You won't even believe it.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Okay.
And obviously there's more going on
sold
than
now.
that.
I'm sold.
But that was the hook for me. It's literally about how we need the arts, even in a post-pandemic world. Maybe we need them even more.
Oh.
So
Oh, I love it.
I do recommend it. And it's like 97% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. I know not everything is about Rotten Tomatoes
Wow.
with critics, but the critics are liking it. And that's
Yeah,
on HBO Max.
That's great. Yeah, I've got to check that out. Okay, you got me because I had no idea what it's about. So you got me.
And what else have you been watching? I know you're rewatching Dexter, but what else?
Yeah, I've been watching old Dexter and new Dexter. I just watched that episode you were talking about of Queer Eye, and it made me cry about with the animals.
Yes.
And oh my God. So that's been good. What else have I been watching? Not much. I do that thing where I go on like Amazon, then I go on Netflix, then I go on Hulu, and I just waste a whole bunch of time, and then I just end up going on my phone. Let's be honest. Yeah. I've been doing that lately.
Yeah, that's fine.
Even though there's great horror out there.
I binge watched, of course, Cobra Kai season 4, and it's lovely. So go watch that, friends.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into that. I'm just waiting for my slow ass husband.
Well, you got to get through Scream 4 first, I guess.
We have to watch Scream 4. I mean, I really think he could go to Scream and not have watched it, but he won't listen to me. So
yeah. No, it's
Whatever.
good. And like you said a couple months ago, it's like the Scream movies, they never disappoint. I have high hopes for this one.
No. Apparently people have been shitting on Scream 4. Like, people on Twitter were like, stop shitting on Scream 4. And I like Scream 4. I mean, sorry, call me a basic bitch, but I like it. So yeah. I didn't actually see anybody shitting on it. It was just people saying don't shit on it. So I don't know.
Yeah. It's like Twitter fake discourse stuff sometimes.
I know. I know. It's like, well, where are the people shitting on it?
Yeah. Well, like I said, we're going to see Scream, and we're going to come back and record about it for next week. So get on that also, friends, so that you're not spoiled. We're going to be talking about Yellow Jackets and a couple other things we watched. So until next time, we'll see you in the horror section.